All right, hey guys, welcome back to another Friday night Talkin Tek. We are Bender fucked off again, but we are here with Erik. Erik, I'm probably gonna say it wrong, but Petkovic.
Yeah, close enough.
All right, well I got his name close enough. So he's gonna join us tonight. We're gonna talk tech. We're gonna talk shit. We're gonna fuck with Bender. We're gonna have a good time and see how it goes.
There we go. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Bender, how you doing?
I'm good, but I think we got some housekeeping to take care of first off. So the opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Fully Tech Marine, Fully Tech Charters, Double Action Dive Charters, Diver and Scuba, B. Larson Metalworks. What's the name of this publisher again? It doesn't matter because it does. Anybody Erik works for, anybody that's going to fire me or Bob in the future, you're going to hear some coarse language. So if the kids are still up, it's time to send them to bed. Any opinions expressed in this program, of course, are not necessarily those. And where the hell am I going with this? Names heard on this or stories told that may sound familiar or purely coincidental. This entire next following hour is going to be all fictitious. So if you hear anything rings a bell, that's just a coincidence. Yeah, like I said, it's time to send the kids to bed. They're going to hear some language. Jesus, I'm fucking this up today. Unless, of course, you're in California, in which case you're shitty parent and the kids aren't going to turn out anyways. Bob, what are you drinking?
So what I am drinking right now is basically, I think, made for this show, right? And it's from 21st Amendment. And let's see here. It is a terrible idea is what it's called. So that's basically what this show is. It's a terrible idea. And that's what I'm drinking. It's a hazy IPA. Should be good. How about you?
Well, I'm still sticking with the Black Gold Brewery. They're a new brewery in town. They need all the shout-outs they can get. So this one is Black Gold, Angry Redhead, Red Ale. And we'll get to the Angry Redhead segue in a little while. I guess he's kind of a redhead. I don't know. He's certainly a cunt with a K. But we'll talk about him later on in the show. Erik, what do you got? What are you drinking tonight?
I'm a whiskey man, so I am splurging on Crown Royal XO.
Very nice.
I just graduated, as I told you earlier. I graduated from 14 months of physical therapy, so I've been drinking that for the last several hours.
Yeah, you didn't have much of a dive season last year, huh?
No, a year ago, it was December of 2019. I was doing a warm-up set of pull-ups, and I was on number 58 out of 60, and I got to the top of the bar, and my shoulder snapped. Something popped, fell on the ground, landed on my clavicle, and about 30 minutes later, I couldn't even lift a loaf of bread. And 2 weeks later, I was in surgery. I tore my bicep off, which was awesome. And I tore my labrum in multiple places, complete rotator cuff tear, subscapular tendon tear, you name it, I did it. So that put a damper on the first half of the year. And then I got cleared. And then I was doing a little bit of diving off of Maryland and Virginia, getting ready to go, getting ready to do a dive on the S5, which is a submarine it's actually in Maryland waters, but it's 165 feet, not too deep. But I had worked on a project the previous year, and we were able to track down some of the family members of some of the survivors. And so we were bringing them out to the wreck site. So at 1:31 in the morning on September 1st last year, my birthday, I was literally sleeping in a sleeping bag at my buddy Rusty Castaway's house, getting ready to go on a dive boat. And I literally turned left, and I heard a pop, and I tore my right bicep off. So it's been
Jesus Christ.
It's been a really shitty year, to say the least. So I've had 2 major shoulder surgeries in the last 14 months, and I just finished PT.
Wow.
So,
wow. Well, that's too bad. I'm glad you're back at it, though.
Me too.
Well, you picked a good year to screw it all up, anyways, because I don't think anybody's been setting any records for diving this year, for in water time running this year.
No. So I picked a good bad year to miss out on diving. So
I guess if you got to miss any, this was the year to do it.
Yeah, for sure. So
yeah,
absolutely.
So Erik, tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into diving? I'm not sure if all the folks watching know much about you. So you're an author, technical diver. You also have an interesting career.
I'm going to stop you there.
Oh, shit.
I hate what I've seen already. Yeah.
I mean,
that's exactly
right. It's exactly what he did, Michelle.
LABRUM. Yeah, but anyway, you're close.
They're all connected.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all the same thing eventually. No, so I've written a few books or 4 books or 5 books, whatever they are. I don't even know. Never really kept track. But I had an interesting career. I have a desk job now, so I have a little bit more time to do some writing and stuff. But, I grew up in Cleveland, and, I was born on September 1st. And when I was 6 years old, on my birthday is when Ballard discovered Titanic. And so a month later, right, it was on the cover of Nat Geo. And just seeing that picture, I was, man, I want to do that. And then growing up in Cleveland, you're like, well, it's Lake Erie. Like, what the hell is there to dive on, right? Or what is there to look at? Because growing up in Cleveland, right, the river caught on fire twice. And, it just gets a really bad vibe in a lot of ways. But when I turned 16, I was 16th Christmas, my dad bought me lessons. And that was it.
Nice.
And so it's a good gift. And then I just kind of went from there. So.
Very nice. So you spent a lot of time diving the Great Lakes then?
Yeah, I've been, most of my stuff has been in Erie. I haven't hit all the Great Lakes yet, but I lived in Milwaukee for a while when I went to school. And then I lived just outside Chicago when I was my first career. But, most of my stuff has been in Erie. I can't remember what I dived in off of Milwaukee, but that was 25 years ago. So I can't remember.
You dove with a guy named Jerry Geyer on a boat called the Lender. He's been running charters there for 40 some years with the same boat. I'm sure that's who you went with, and you dove wrecks like the Willie and the Car Ferry Milwaukee and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I guess that's probably what it is. I can barely remember what happened like earlier today, let alone 25 years ago. So
I understand.
But yes, but like growing up in Cleveland, it's always, and then we moved to my cousin Brian was like, he posted something east to 11th Street. So I literally live 4 houses from Lake Erie, and you can hear the waves crashing every night. It was just an awesome place to live, and I always wondered what was out there. And so after getting lessons and stuff, like, started hitting the wrecks and like really, really, really got into the history of it. And one of the first stories I heard like growing up was a wreck called the GP Griffith, and it was 1850, and it was about 7 miles from my house. And the steamer burned, killing nearly 300 people in 1850. And the remarkable thing about that, and this is what really got me into wreck diving and shipwrecks and maritime history and stuff, is that the ship burned only 600 yards from shore in 8 feet of water. So, you either burn to death, or you drown because you couldn't swim, or you drowned because you were weighted down on all your worldly possessions because you were a German and Irish immigrant, and you literally had all of your clothes and you had all of your monetary possessions, right? Your gold coins and stuff in your pockets, and you just sank. But the crazy thing about that, again, if you were able to just float or swim for 50 yards, you could have been in water deep enough to stand up in. And no help ever came, and people just watched it from shore. And that story's like always fascinated me. So that was like one of the things I'm like, and you guys talk about this a lot on your shows. It's like, it's not just the wreck. And I say this, and if anybody's seen me like all over the country speaking and stuff, I talk diving. I go to all the dive conferences. I get invited to that stuff all over the world. But it's the history of it, right? So there's a story behind each wreck, right? It's somebody's dad and mom and grandparents and brother and sister, sons and daughter, right, that were on that. And there's that human connection, and that's like what's really drawn me in. So when I tell these stories, I just refer to them as the lost tales of death and survival, because that's really what they are, and I always just found that fascinating. So that's really what got me into diving and into, telling stories and really researching stuff. So.
Very nice. And then you turned that into making a few books out of it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've written a couple, 4 or 5. I don't even know. Honestly, I just, it's just, I know it's like my first one I wrote 15 years ago, and I literally left it in a drawer in my office. Like, I just wrote it for me, and never published it. It was one of those things, my first wreck dive in Lake Erie was on a tug called the Admiral, and it sank December 2nd, 1942. And it's in the middle of World War II, right? And but there's this little tugboat called the Admiral, and it's towing the Cleveco, and they were going through its own battle, right, in Lake Erie in a wicked storm. But my first wreck dive in Lake Erie was going down on this, and right before we jumped in, the boat captain, who no longer runs there, he goes, "Hey, this is we're diving on the tugboat Admiral. 32 men died, and it sank in a storm." And I'm like, well, how the hell does that work, right? I mean, 32 people lost their lives, 32 families were ruined forever, and that's like the only thing that you can say about that. So to me, that never really sat right. So that really is what got me into researching some of this stuff, and really, trying to find lost families and trying to do some stuff, that's really hasn't really been done before. And that's what got me into it. So I would really just write this stuff for me, just to know more about it. So if I was diving on something, I would research it. And I don't mean, research as in looking on Wikipedia or pulling something off of the shelf in my library, right? Because that's just copying somebody else's work, and that's basically a book report, right? So I like to do primary research, right? Go into the National Archives, go in these archives, and spend hours and hours in digging and trying to find stuff, that nobody's ever found before, and write about it. And just that makes the experience a little bit more complete for me. So when I dive on something, that just kind of validates my research. That's how I always looked at it. So I would just write this stuff up, and if people wanted it, it'd be like, hey, this is the real story of the Admiral, right? Not that one sentence thing of 32 people died. Here's the story. And I just passed it on the deck of the boats, and then God rest his soul, cheers to my good friend Peter Hess, who's a legendary wreck diver and admiralty lawyer. He worked on the case with the Monitor and so on and so forth. But Peter convinced me to publish my first book, and so I told him I would only do it if he wrote the foreword. And then shortly afterwards, he passed away. So I threw it back in my drawer. It was totally complete. But I had a dear friend of mine in Peter's, Bill Thomas, wrote the foreword for me for the first book for Peter. And that's the only reason I did that. And then, I've had a couple more books in the work. I got 3 more that I've written in my drawers, and I'll get around eventually to publishing them. But, anyway, so that's how that all started.
All right. I think that's a great thing you're doing there. Is trying to tell the story of these wrecks. It's not just a wreck down there on the bottom that people died on. Let's hear their story. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It makes it more complete for me, and it's just there's stuff to it, right? It's not just a pile of rubble or twisted steel, and it's there's something to it, and that's what's always intrigued me. It's just the history behind it. So
there's subtle little details to every person on a ship that either worked on it or perished on it has their story and their connection. Well, what's kind of neat, and you've probably found this in some of your research, is the historical record is often wrong. I think in these times we can look at what's published in your timeline on social media. 20 or 30 or 40 years from now, somebody might go and look at these stories and take it as gospel, as truth. When I was involved in the Manitou stuff, I got the opportunity to get into the local archive, and one of the things we found really quickly, there was a name. The story of the Manitou is kind of published in like a shipwreck and story. There's not a lot that really was written about it, but it was written probably in the late 60s, early 70s about the Manitou. And when we were doing research in the archives, we found that one of the names was last name, or I don't have my notes in front of me, but the last name or the first name was inaccurate. And so for the last 30 years, people have been referring to one of the deceased by the wrong name. And we were able to find his actual obituary from his hometown newspaper and basically prove and correct history, at least in the short term, as long as people read the way that we tell the story. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, and that's the whole purpose of it, right? Is to add something to the historical record, right? And that's what research is about. It's not just about, again, anybody can do research and make a book report, right? We're all taught that in second grade, but going out and doing what you're doing on the Manitou and like, adding something to the historical record. I mean, that's significant, right? Because a lot of those mistakes, and I find those all the time, a lot of those mistakes are perpetuated just in books and books. And I have books like on my shelf that I read or have read before, and they're wrong, but it's stuff that was copied on for years and years and years, and now I don't do any research on the internet, but if it's on the internet, it's got to be true, right? That's what a lot of people say, so
except for on this show, all fictitious.
That's right.
Legal department.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's those stories, man. Like there's not too many other sports where you can be a part of history, right? You can go back in time. You can see some of this stuff. And, I mean, there's another story. One of my favorite ones, like this dude named John Kane, right? It's the 1860s. He's sitting, he's sleeping off his 21st birthday celebration, sleeping in the aft cabin of his two-masted schooner, right? And he doesn't wake up from the sound or the collision, right, from the other boat, and he wakes up because there's a giant sliver of wood that breaks off in his cabin. It pierces his left cheek, exits the right side of his face, breaks his jaw into three places, and slices his tongue open into three, right? So the guy has this giant sliver of wood literally in his face. His jaw's broken. His tongue is severed, and again, into three different places. The ship is going down, and somehow he manages to escape. He gets on top of the deck. He jumps on top of the bow of the other ship that hit him. And that may sound like a good thing, except that ship starts to go down too, right? And so he makes it back to the surface. So he basically survives two shipwrecks, makes it back to the surface. And some dude who's his buddy starts pulling him down underneath the water, trying to drown him because he can't swim. And it's amazing how many of these sailors back in the day, they couldn't swim. It's just what they did to make money, right? And so John Kane comes back to the surface. He survives two shipwrecks. He's got this giant sliver of wood in his face. He's bleeding profusely. He just kicks off, the hands of one of his friends, sailors, mates, that's trying to hold on to him to pull him down so he can go back to the surface. He kicks him free. He makes it to the surface. And then he drifts all night, waiting to die. And just literally, luckily, he was in a shipping lane, and a ship came by 9 hours later, picked him up, and brought him to a hospital in Cleveland. And that's the same hospital where they sewed his tongue together with wire. Like, that's just a cool freaking story.
But that's not the first time somebody woke up in a hospital in Cleveland with their tongue being sewed back together. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I know there's a joke there somewhere, right? Yeah. But it's just a cool story, right? You're not going to hear that anywhere else. So,
well, I give you credit for just being able to find that story and putting the time in to learn that, because I think that's the stuff that gets forgotten.
It does. It's those little things that nobody talks about. And that's why I call them like they're lost tales of death and survival.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about this stuff. They just don't, and it's just, there's more to it than just, I'm going to dive on this wreck, right? There's more to it than that. And
absolutely.
And that's what I like anyway. I mean, it makes a little bit easier, or it makes not easier. It just makes a better connection to me in the wreck. Like when I know, like, man, like there's 32, souls lost their lives here, like there's a story behind that. So let's do it, let's literally figure this stuff out. And, I was telling you earlier, my buddy Rusty, I don't know if he's on tonight or not, Castaway, he runs the RVX out of Jersey. You know, we worked for a very long time, and we tracked down some family members from the USS S5, which is probably, you know, the greatest rescue in the history of the U.S. Navy, and greatest survival story in the history of the U.S. Navy. And it was very cool to. It's probably not closure, right? Because you probably never get over that stuff, but at least you learn to live with it a little bit better. And you know, and I did that once for another Great Lakes shipwreck in Lake Erie. You know, the John J. Bowen. I was able to track down, you know, the son of the oiler who passed away. You know, and I gave him. He said he had closure. I sent him a file. You know, ship's plans, everything I can dig up. I sent him pictures of everything because he lost everything and he never knew his dad. And he said he was getting ready to die, and he wanted to know who his dad's ship's mates were. And I thought that was really cool. So for me as a wreck diver, to be able to help somebody and help somebody's family, you know, that just makes it even better. So there's not too many sports where you can do that, right? And really connect with history. So again, it's my thing. We've all seen presentations where you go to these dive shows all over the world. You know, it's like, hey, this is a turtle, and it's awesome. Like, it's a cool picture of a sea turtle, right? And then there's the next slide is, hey, here's another picture of the sea turtle. And it's like, all right, you know, after a while, it's kind of mundane, right? But, you know, all my stuff, I really try to like really put that human connection with it, because it just, to me, like, that's the story, right? It's not the shipwreck. It's like what happened to these people, you know? But anyway, it's just my thing. But
so outside of diving, Eric, you've had an interesting career. You've changed careers. I think the last time I talked to you was at the Ann Arbor show last year. You're sort of in a transition point there.
Yeah.
What have you done for money? Because we both know that writing books and technical diving is not conducive to
no,
making
it does not pay the bill. So when I left the Secret Service, I took a desk job. I'll just leave it at that, for reasons that I can't get into. But yeah, I mean, I took a desk job. It pays the bills. It allows me to be home. I'm home with Danielle and the boys. You know, I don't miss soccer games, and now, you know, I have time to write more and go diving. So that's what I do.
Well, can you tell us about working at the Secret Service? So, like, you worked with Obama, you worked with W before that a little bit.
Yeah, I did. You know, I worked with W, super awesome guy. Worked with Obama. We call him Renegade. Worked with Trump as well. He was always super nice to me as well. So, but yeah, no, I've been around the world. I've been to, I don't know, 30 some countries or so. I've been to most U.S. states. I've protected the heads of, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 countries. So I just, you know.
Wow.
Is it as exciting as it is on TV, where like there's like a gunfight every week? Like you just constantly just shoot, just desk pops, just firing off rounds.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can save the world, nobody will ever know about it, and then you get yelled at for not doing it fast enough, right? I mean, that's basically what it is.
That's the way she goes.
But I mean, no, it's yeah, it's not like the movies, right? They don't put all this stuff in the brochure, right? So, I mean, I could be standing in a stairwell for 14 hours, not see a living human being, right? So it's not what it's cracked up to be, but you know, I traveled a couple hundred days a year, so it was tough being away from home. So that's why I ended up switching.
Is that common in that line of work? Is it sort of something that guys will do for 3 or 6 or 8 or so many years, and then they get out of it, or are there lifers?
Yeah,
Is it?
You know, there's a lot of lifers, and you know, it's probably 50-50. There's a lot of folks that are lifers, and there's a lot of guys like me. You know, I did 10 plus years, which I think was enough. You know, I still miss it, but you know, I mean, there's nothing like walking down the West Colonnade coming out of the West Wing, you know, the Oval Office, and walking towards the mansion and stuff like that. You know, I miss that. I miss, you know, flying on Marine One and all that stuff. And that was fun. But, you know, I wanted to leave while I still liked it, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, you know, and it just, I just was missing my boys' lives, and I couldn't do it anymore, you know? I just couldn't do it. So that's why I ended up leaving. So
Well,
Totally
that's good.
understandable.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
So,
it gives me time to do shows
so
like this. 'Cause otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd probably be, it was Friday night.
helping
right now.
change Joe Biden's. Oh, no politics. Sorry.
No politics. We don't want to go there.
So, speaking of the halls of power, this week there was a very, very important decision made in the halls of power, and it has significant ramifications for this show.
Yes.
So while everybody was having a meltdown, the more important stuff was going on behind the scenes. So Bob had managed to secure a guest.
We won't mention his
I think
name.
it was going to be for next week. We won't mention his name, but he's probably the most hated shitty photographer in all of technical diving. And he was going to come on the show, and he was going to get put in his place, and we were really looking forward to it.
We had a plan, but I don't know if it was a good idea.
So the Grand Jedi Council caught wind of this because everything we do on this show is only because it is allowed by the Grand Jedi Council. And they sat in their circle and they gathered all the facts and they rendered a decision. And although we don't always agree with their decisions, we must respect their decisions. So our guest for next week will not be the most hated underwater shitty cave photographer in America. Maybe not in the world. Well, he's working on it, but
It might be.
He's on the top 5. So
impressive, regardless.
Something we want to say is very, we don't always agree with them, but they probably got this one right. So that's as close to politics as we're going to get on Talkin Tek, right there.
All right.
Yeah. We decided we're not going to go that direction. We're not going to go publicly shame some guys just because they're fucking morons. He knows he's stupid. We don't have to let everybody else know.
Right.
So,
but it would have been fun.
But here, Hefe says the council has spoken, and Big T says they gathered the facts and rendered a decision. So
it's final.
It's just the way she goes.
Yep, their power is total. So
it is.
Well, for that shitty of a photographer, they should know it. So you don't need to rub it in any more than we can, right?
Leave Daryl Walter. Daryl Walter was a good race car driver. Come on.
Okay.
So Derek is the first guest, as far as we know, that has actually seen the show. Yeah, we're the first one to actually see the show prior to coming on. So,
oh, dude, I love the show. I told you guys before, man. This is the Howard Stern show of dive shows, right?
I mean, we got to put that on a sticker. We were talking about having stickers made. That needs to go on the sticker.
Might want to run that by legal. I know Howard's pretty cool, but he's got pretty aggressive lawyers.
We'll see. So
Stern wrong. You could probably do it if you misspell the words a little bit.
Yeah, spelled like stern of a boat, or is that the same way?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll just spell it. It'll be wrong. Honestly.
Yeah.
I'll just spell it. It'll be wrong because I don't know how to fucking spell English. So
perfect.
We don't have to worry about it.
We got Talkin Tek spelled right, anyways. So.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't me. That was all Latoya. She took care of making our little logo up in the corner.
Yeah,
Hope everybody likes it.
Though. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Terry's on fire today. He's on the Liquorman's hard.
Yeah. The screen chat thing, which I don't know what it's called because I suck at all this computer stuff and
me
Facebook
too.
stuff.
But
I see him. I see him writing away there.
So Bender, if Terry's on the Liquorman's, which looks like he might be, I feel like it's time we get on the Liquorman's. You agree?
We're halfway through the show, Bob. I'm not going to argue with you.
I mean, we're halfway through
I've been
the
arguing
show.
with people all week. I don't got the energy for that anymore.
If he's been arguing with people all week, I feel like the fuck off section of this show is going to be a little rough. But we'll see how it goes. So we'll get to a couple of questions here in a minute, but let me go get a shot. And Bender, let's get your Lickermans and let's get this going.
Well, unlike Bob, who is never prepared, he's got to walk all the way across the room with his. Are you keeping out coyote hunting again, Bob? Is that your Wisconsin or your Illinois hunting attire?
I just, yeah.
Just blend into the background?
Yeah.
I didn't even see you there. You just kind of stuck up on us.
I'll get better lighting for next week, so you guys can see more.
So I will, if you guys can read this chat scroll thingy.
So, I was about to pull up.
Are you seeing that question there? That might be one you want to
from
put
Michelle.
On
this is one we wanted to address, and we'll pull up here in a second. But let's have our shot real quick.
Yeah. Hey, cheers.
First things first. The unofficial sponsor, who won't return our emails or phone calls because they've obviously seen the show. Lickermans, old dirty
Canadian whiskey. Cheers, boys.
Hold on. Shit, I ain't even poured a shot yet. Hold on.
Oh, for fuck's sake, pour your shot. All right, cheers, boys. Whew. That's a dirty whiskey there.
It's like a fine wine. It's been left out in the sun for a few days, and then run through like a coffee filter with with the contents of an ashtray. Just gorgeous, phenomenal.
That's a really good blend there.
It pretty much ages like milk. It's
the high life of whiskey. Is that what you're saying?
The champagne of whiskey, or the high. Yeah,
it's the high life of whiskey.
High life of whiskey. So, hey, Eric, Michelle wants to know if you got any thoughts on the sheepy. I think Bender uses one, but you have any thoughts?
Yeah. I do. I don't even know what to say right now. I know who this is, and it's not Michelle, by the way. It's my dive buddy, who I will not out. I will not give out his name, but I will be texting him immediately following this program. But there is a story behind that, the sheepy, and it is very appropriate for this program. But there were some folks down my way in Southern Maryland that have some very serious questions about the sheepy valve and if it works, and more importantly, how the connections are made to appropriately whiz in your dry suit if you're a female. So I don't know.
Hefe's got it figured out.
Yeah, Hefe probably needs to come up with some sort of diagram, which I'd be interested in if he could post a diagram of that. But
Alicia's got one, and when we're up cave diving, or we're down in Florida cave diving, I know she gets up about 3 hours before everybody else. And, like, the bathroom smells like a fucking body shop. She's got like JB Weld and fucking Bondo and a hair dryer. It's like there's shit going on in there. Like, apparently it works though.
Do you you like cave diving?
I think both of us love cave diving. Yeah. Do
you? Yeah. So I've never done it. I won't do it. A really good friend of mine who's the subject of a book, Joe Steffen, Lieutenant Joe, LT, was a really, really, really good friend of mine. He died in a cave up in Mine Quest, and I just haven't been able – probably haven't gotten over that at all. So maybe one day I'll venture into caves, but I haven't been able to do it thus far. So
I think with cave diving, if your head's not in the right space, you don't have any business going in there. You're better off. And I can speak for myself, but I'm sure Bender's got similar stories where you're down there, you're cave diving, and something's not right. You're not getting in the water that day. There's too much shit that can go wrong. So if your head's not there.
I don't know. I think,
agree.
a wreck dive, we've talked in the past about, a serious or deep technical dive or complicated technical dive, or a simple recreational dive. I think the closest call I ever had was on a stupid rinky dink, in 30 feet of water. And that's where I came the closest to biting it. So I think we got to bring our A game everywhere we go.
Right.
The caves have, there's uju going on there. The caves have a way of telling you that it's not your day. And I've done dives where we've pushed through that and gone further back, despite being told a couple times. You get a couple warnings. We haven't had a major incident, but when you get told 3 times that it's not your day, yeah, it's probably a good time to go sit in the truck and drink beer. And the caves, they just have a way of telling you that. They even have a way.
Yeah.
We can get a little sloppy in open water. We get sloppy up in the lakes, and you go down and you spend a week in Florida cave diving. And, if you don't have that, you don't stow a stage right, you get away with it in the lakes. You don't tuck your light cord in after you clip the light off, you get away with it. You don't clip that light off, or you don't tuck that cord in the caves.
Right.
Hey, you're going down to see Corey with $200 for a new light cord. That's just how it is. It'll wait for the perfect time, and it will make it extremely apparent why you are a fucking idiot. That's what I love about it, because if I spend a week down there, I'm still a fucking tourist in the caves. But when I come back to the lakes, I feel a lot, I don't want to say more confident, because that's a little bit cocky, but I feel like I'm in mid-season form, when the ice is just coming off the lakes. So
yeah,
there's a lot to be gained. I when I got into cave diving, I had aspirations to join the project and lay line and be a big shot. And 15 years later, I know I'm just a little fish in a big pond. I'm a fucking tourist. I'll just go dive Ginny, do my deco. Hopefully it's spring break and have something to watch, for the last 25 minutes of the dive. And
sure. Yeah.
I'm happy with that. I know where I'm at. So.
Yeah. Well, so I've never told this story to anybody, but why not? Right. So you just said it, like knowing where you're at. So based on vendor's waiver earlier today, or
Yes.
at the disclaimer. So I will change the lake, the boat, the names, the wreck, and everything that we were that you had said not to say. I won't say. So, but this is a very true story. Other than changing,
It's like a Bon Jovi song. It's all the same. Only the names have changed.
Right there, you go. So, but knowing where you're at, right? This is like key. So you can have all the coolest shit. You can have a ton of money. You can buy all like the best gear, right?
I've seen that.
Zero experience, right? And it's the experience that's going to save you, right, from stuff. And you can buy your cert. You're only as good as your instructor is, and all that other stuff. But it's the experience that's going to get you through those scary situations, right? So, like what you just said, Bender. So, very true story. No exaggerations. No bullshit. Just flat out. Other than changing the names, this is the true story. So, and again, I've never said this before, publicly. Actually, I don't think I've ever told anybody. So, I was diving a wreck in one of the Great Lakes, 140 feet. All right. So the relief on it is probably about 40 or 50 feet. So it's on its side. So you can probably hit, you're still within recreational range, even though it's considered a tech dive, right? Based on the relief of the superstructure and we'll just leave it at that. So we're gearing up, getting ready to go down. It's in July. Water is, just about 40 on the bottom, maybe 40, probably in the upper 30s, probably 37 to 39 degrees. And gearing up, put the dry suit, put insulation on, dry suit, doubles, 2 stages, like set to go. And the boat captain, was looking for an extra couple bucks, basically what it comes down to, and put this person on the boat I had never seen before. And, I'm watching this person like gear up, and I mean, no shit. This person, right, in the middle of July in one of the Great Lakes, going to a 140-foot dive, had just received his cert, and not his rescue cert, not his advanced cert, not his tech cert, but his basic open water cert, going to 140-foot dive. Person put on a 3-mil wetsuit to be in 30-some degree water. On top of his 3-mil wetsuit, he put on sweatpants and then a sweatshirt. And then he put a 5-mil on top of all of that. So
that seems like good insulation there. That'd work.
Well, it's super good insulation. What's the problem with that? Right? Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, right?
You can't move. But
the dude put every single 5, 8, 10 pounder that was on the boat, couldn't get below the surface at all, right? Goes back on. Everybody's piling weights on this guy. Dude finally gets on. I'm on the bottom. I'm checking out the props. I'm at the stern. And he just lead weight all the way down. And he's hanging out on the stern, close to me. And, you know, I couldn't believe it. Out of there. And just grabs the regulator, pulls it out of my friend's mouth. Just like that. 137 feet we're at. Rips it right out. My friend and this person go straight to the bottom. So I swim over. I'm checking out, photographing the props. I run over. I grab this person. I just grab him, scoop him away, grab him by his BC, pull him up.
Did you stop and take a picture of them in their complete and total raging clusterfuck?
That's the one thing I probably should have done, right?
Those are my favorite.
Would have been cool, but it wasn't. I didn't do that. So it's like jokes and stuff. Like
Becky would have taken a picture first.
Yes, absolutely would have gotten the picture, right? Because
if you
took a picture, it didn't happen, right? That's how photographers think.
absolutely.
But anyway, so, you know, dude rips the regulator out of this person's mouth. They go straight to the bottom. I swim over. I grab the person, bring them up at the bottom. I take my reg out, shove it in their mouth, purge it, reach down, grab my secondary. We're all good to go. Well, this person is sucking down my air just nonstop, right? Just unbelievable, sucking down his air. So I'm writing on my slate, you know, like, hey, relax, breathe. I'm doing the breathe in, breathe out thing, calm down, right? Everything. And nothing would work. And this dude just sucking down my air. So what I ended up doing was I just gave him my pressure gauge. And he's looking at the pressure gauge. And he starts calming down a little bit. So we get up, we start going up the anchor line. And I signaled to him, you know, hey, I'm gonna control deco, you know, all that other stuff. So we go up and we're doing our hang, and we're about 30 feet. And I wrote on the slate, I'm like, hey, you know, just relax. I'm gonna let go of you because I had him by his right BC shoulder, and I let him go. And I said, hey, you know, I'm gonna go up because there was a ton of people on the anchor line. This guy would not let go of the anchor line. Couldn't hover, had no buoyancy. And again, he'd literally just passed last weekend, basic open water. So he had no, he should not have been on a dive boat in the middle of this lake going to a 140-foot wreck, right? But the captain wants $100 and some bucks cash, and that's the way it is. And
you got a cert card, you got $100, you're qualified.
You're damn right? And that's what some people say, you know. And so we go up, and I let go of him, and I make sure both of his hands are around the anchor line. And I go up, and I'm on a 6-foot hose. So I go up to tell people, hey, you know, like, I need you to hover because this guy cannot, has zero buoyancy. He needs to hold on to the line. And
incoming clusterfuck coming through.
Hell yeah.
The airwaves.
Yes. And I look down, I look straight down, and I'm pissed off because my Poseidon jet streams, which I love, are wrapped around the anchor line. And he's just going like this. He's got his hands up in the air. He's just dropping straight towards the bottom. I fought for a second. I should let this dude go. You know what I mean, fuck, he almost killed my friend. He almost killed me. He ripped my mask off. He actually broke my fin strap. He was pulling at everything he possibly could. He's panicking, it was sheer panic. His eyes were just gigantic.
So Daniel has a good question at this point. Why didn't the captain just hand him the anchor and be done with him?
Well, that's, you know what? Captain Ahab would have done so, right?
There you go.
It was. But, yeah, I mean, it's a good question. It's sad. But here's the other thing, right? So I go back down, swim back down, bring him up. I grab a hold of him. We get back on there. We almost get in a fist fight on the boat because he tells me to fuck off because it's all my fault. And he was basically embarrassed that
Was this a Friday this happened on?
no, it was Saturday morning.
Oh, fuck. He's too late. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So it's my fault because he's embarrassed. And I didn't make a big deal out of it. I just let it go. Didn't say anything to anybody, right? And so we almost get to fisticuffs on the boat. And then the crazy fucking thing about all this.
Wait, let me stop you there. Hold on.
So
you almost got into a fight with the guy who you just fucking saved.
yeah. He blamed me for almost killing himself.
So
do you just like throw his ass over the fucking boat and tell him to fuck right off?
I actually went to the bow. I sat down on the bow and I just, because that was our first dive. And sure as shit, guess what happened the second dive? Captain said he can jump in the water.
Great. And guess what? You can watch him run out of air too.
Isn't that nuts? But so that that was like a 7-minute story of what Bender said, right? Like you have to know your limits. You have to know like what you can do, right? Because this dude had zero, like literally, he had 0 dives besides his 6 training dives, and then he was going to jump in on a wreck at 140 feet. It makes 0 sense, right? So it's unbelievable.
I
But
mean,
you got to
that's
know your
possible.
limits, man. People don't know that, but he had he had cool gear, right? He spent some money on it, but that doesn't mean shit, right? It doesn't mean that you know what you're doing just because you can afford to buy dive gear.
Yeah, but isn't that all that matters? That you have cool gear?
Absolutely. That's exactly what it does, right? It's all brand recognition.
Remember, so if the guy can't tip, he's not coming back.
Yeah.
So,
So every boat captain, we pay attention to where people stow their gear. So, we make sure, like, bring your wallet, bring your medication, and bring your phone. If we got to airlift you out, you need that stuff. The wallet thing really isn't for you. It's for us because we airlift you out. We're going to we might forget to send your wallet with you because,
things get lost. Like
the guys that get airlifted off boats, off dive boats, are the best tippers. I'm just saying. They buy credit cards, buy rounds at the bar. I'm just saying it's been known to happen. So
yeah,
it does happen. It does happen. Yeah, that's an interesting story. I would have thrown that guy right off the fucking boat.
I'm not making that up at all. Like that's just a legit true story, and I couldn't believe it. Still can't believe it that it happened.
All right, so you got to help us out here. Like, what fucking boat are you on? It doesn't matter what you say because you're covered under the disclaimer. So,
yeah, it's a big boat.
It's a big boat.
Come on, Sean did it again, son of a bitch.
Well, yeah, it must have been Sean. So
Big
it was probably
little
last
guy.
year. Yeah, he was he like a midget? Like Sean's
this was 15 years ago.
Okay,
so it was last year. I wasn't diving much.
With limited exception, I really feel it's important that charter operators are divers themselves because you can hire someone that is licensed and can operate the boat and can help put gear on and stuff. But unless they have a pretty good understanding of what's going on under the water, they may not recognize the signs. Again, guy had a cert card. He was arguably qualified to go do the dive. It's only happened once or twice where we benched somebody before they even get in the water the first time. Probably 5 or 6 times a year. It'll be I'm going to say collectively agreed on or mutually agreed on that a second dive is probably not a good idea. Off of our boat, they usually figure it out pretty quick. When you're telling that story, it brought one to mind that I had. This would be about 3 or 4 years ago. I had we were running a Wexford charter, and it's the same thing. If you've got basically minimum certification, and at the time it was $85, you're qualified to go. And who are we to say you're not? Everybody's gearing up to do their dive, and I'm helping people put their gloves on and masks and stuff. And the guy puts his wetsuit on. It was you can spot the rental gear, and rental 7 mil, and he's just getting ready to go. And I go, "Where's your weight belt?" And we don't know if a diver's certified in Belize or certified in Lake Erie is a big fucking difference, right?
Absolutely, right. No doubt.
So the light bulb comes on. This is the first time this guy's ever dove in cold water, likely, and with any significant exposure protection. And I said, "Where's your weight belt?" And I'm looking at his BC to see if he's got integrated weights, or it's just a shitty stab jacket. Oh, I sink. And he's built like me, right? Like human density is kind of, with pi r or something, you can calculate human density. I'm doing that in my head and going, yeah, you need a weight belt, bud. No,
Right.
I sink. I don't need any weight. And I look at how much fucking suit he's got on. Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to argue
now
with you.
at this point, you just tell him, fuck off, get off the boat, try and get down. You know he's going to be on the surface, so he's not going to fucking drown.
He fucked around for 7 minutes. I don't think he got deeper than 12 feet, and he fucking rifled through an aluminum 80. He comes back on the boat.
Went through all of his stuff, right?
And I watched the whole, we're assholes as fucking charter captains. I'm hanging my head over the bow just watching this cluster fucking sue, and fucking fins try to fin on air. They don't work with the shit in wind.
Right. Shocker, right? It's unbelievable. Yeah.
And he comes up I'm like, how was your dive? Did you see the steering wheel? Like, the Wexford don't have a fucking steering wheel. Did you see the steering wheel? Did you see all the China and shit? The lanterns? No, man, I get past 12 feet. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah. Hopefully, you learned his. Yeah. I mean, it's you
gotta
gotta
learn
know,
today.
right? I mean, that's why I'm a big proponent for taking it slow. I'm a big proponent for getting your experience. I know there's a sex joke in this somewhere, right? I'm a big proponent for progressive penetration. That's what she said, right? I get all that stuff.
That's what she
But
said.
getting your experience, that's huge, right? So
James says master scuba divers don't need to understand proper weighting. So you know what, James, you're probably right. So
probably.
So back on this, I had a little Bender's telling stories, you're telling stories. I'm going to tell my story about a cave diver I had on board. Cold water cave diver from Missouri. I won't go any further and mention names. Not that it matters, because we do have a disclaimer. It's all okay. But mostly because I don't remember his name. So we go out. We're doing a wreck in Lake Michigan. It's 130 foot of water, 125 foot of water, something like that. But it's early May, so it's not warm, right? Like, we know early May in the Great Lakes, if we're lucky, it's 39 degrees on the bottom, right?
Right.
So this guy comes up and he's got the fingers cut off his gloves, like is very common with cave divers to do. So my response is, hey, hold on, man. Let me go grab you a pair of gloves. I got an extra set on the boat. Let me grab them. I get told to fuck right off, and that he's a cave diver, and this is how they do things. So my response, I'm trying to help. I said, look, man, I'm a cave diver too, but you're not cave diving. You're Great Lakes wreck diving, and it's fucking May.
Yep.
And he says, I'm a cave diver. You don't tell me. I said, okay, fucking go diving. Get off the boat. 10 minutes later, I'm dragging him onto the swim platform because his hands, they won't even move to grab the ladder. He can't function.
Right. Yeah.
And I looked at the guy, dragged his ass on the boat. I should have let him float there for a while, but I dragged him up on the boat, and I says, man, I thought this is what you cave divers do. And well, then I think he realized that maybe he was in over his head, which, it happens, right?
Yeah, shit happens, right? I mean, like I said, like the bumper sticker says, shit happens. Now, first of all, were you wearing your hat?
Of course.
Of course. All right. So he should have known better to begin with. And second of all, you cut the fingertips off of your trigger finger. Not everything. That's like the basic rule. Everybody should know, right?
And this is coming from the Secret Service, right there.
That's right. Retired. I don't want to get in trouble.
So, any seasoned Great Lakes or Baltic diver, even the New England wreck diver guys, they know the worst part of cold water diving isn't cold hands. It's not even during the dive. It's
shrinkage.
When your hand, well, shrinkage. when
always the P valve.
It's when your hands, you're doing a dive, man, my hands are cold. And a few minutes later, like, my hands don't feel cold anymore. This ain't like, you can't do anything with them. Well, I just don't feel this ain't so bad. So you do like 27 more minutes of bottom time if you're half A, and then 2 hours more deco.
There you go, half.
It's not when your hands go numb. It's 25 minutes after you're back on the boat and you got the gear off and the blood starts to go back to your fucking fingertips. That is
dude, it hurts. It hurts. Yeah. Dude, it's like coming down from Everest, Camp 3 to base camp, right? Your fingers just, they finally get fed with some blood and it hurts, right? Yeah. Yeah.
We've all been there.
But Great Lakes is a different animal and nobody understands it unless you've done it before. But the Great Lakes is totally different than anything else. And, sometimes it gets the respect it does, sometimes it doesn't, but it's unlike anything else on this planet. And
absolutely.
It's fucking cold, and it's its own animal. Yeah, it's its own animal.
So, well, we don't need to even get into some of
There's a lot of P-valve questions this evening.
Yeah, we got P-valve questions, sheepy questions. I will say I got a funny sheepy event, but
we should get the sheepy girl on the show. I'm going to write that down. I'm reaching out to her.
I'm not going to mention the girl's name. I'll use a slightly different name. Her last name, let's call it Ducking. She was on the boat, and well, she missed with the glue, and she glued her asshole shut. So it was really hilarious. She was rather panicked and freaking out, but we all laughed at her. It was pretty funny. So
hey, it's only funny when it doesn't happen to you.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I heard Gorilla Glue. Shout out for Gorilla Glue. Maybe that's something we need to start. Yeah,
it's for the hair.
Oh, shit, that's
only on this show are you going to hear stories like that, folks. Only on this show. Nowhere else in the world. We reached new heights
2 weeks ago when we were in, what was her name's bathroom in the UK, looking at we were in Mallory's bathroom in London, England, watching her desalinate a fucking ivory tusk. That we didn't get to see inside of Richie Kohler's bathroom last week. I was quite disappointed.
I was.
Yeah, that was kind of a shame. Yeah, that wasn't right. I'll call Richie after this. He should be watching because I watched Richie's.
Richie, I hope you're on. You better comment. I'll join the fucking.
Yeah, he better comment. If not, I'll call him right after this on his cell phone.
There we go.
Hey, he wrote the forward to my next book. Anyway, I want to give a quick shout out to my buddy Charlie. He is he's commenting, but I love you, Charlie. So thank you for tuning in. And then I also saw my cousin Brian on there, but also Rusty Castaway. He's probably one of the best boat, if not the best boat captains on the East Coast. So no. If you guys want to come out, man, listen. I said on the East Coast. I know better, right? Hey, listen, man.
I was about to mute you. I was about to hit mute.
But no, seriously, if you guys ever want to come out, man, he's got an elevator on his boat and stuff, and I'll be more than happy to have you guys out as my guest. As my guest.
No, we don't need to talk about the elevators here because all these people want them on our boats, and well, fuck you. Climb the goddamn ladder.
Right back at you. Well, hey. Yeah. So or just freaking side mount and then leave your tanks in the water, then you can walk up.
Bender,
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. I don't side mount. I'm back mount.
This hour is just flown by. It's funny how some shows seem to drag on and some shows just flash.
We've got quick.
So wrapped up in talking about how we use Gorilla Glue and boxes and sheepies and such. In my right hand, and we're running out of time, so we got to wrap 20 up. We got 2 things we got to deal with.
20 questions.
Yeah.
Are you ready, Eric? You know the drill.
Yeah.
You've seen this show.
Let's go, man.
You probably thought about it. So
yeah, dude, I'm a regular, man. So let's go.
gas or diesel?
Diesel.
Open circuit or closed?
Open.
Salt or fresh?
Fresh.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Back mount or side mount?
Back.
Better captain? Captain Kirk or Captain Picard?
Kirk.
Fucking Canadian.
Oh, shut up. Just shut up.
Dogs or cats?
I don't give a shit.
Beer or wine?
Dude, what am I, 12? Whiskey, man. Come on, bro.
Favorite Great Lake?
Erie.
Canon or Nikon?
I suck at photography. Nikon.
Computer or tables?
I do both. Computer.
Better photographer? Becky or Hefe?
I suck at photography. I will say Becky just because that she was the cover shot of my last book.
Oh, I can't wait to the after party.
I know Hefe's gonna kill me. I love him though, dude. Like I suck at photography. Like you talk about the worst rec photographer on the planet, it's probably me. So
Rex or caves?
Rex.
Sausage or taco?
Jeez. Taco.
Johnny Cash or Elton John?
Dude, the Man in Black all the way, bro. And I do have a Secret Service Elton John story.
We'll hear that
might
after we're done.
Yeah.
Yes. That's just for the three of us.
Yeah.
'Cause
Top
I'll
or
get in
bottom?
trouble with that one. Top.
Power or sail?
Power.
GUE or TDI?
TDI.
Sweet or salty?
Always sweet.
And for the last one, rust or wood?
Wood.
That's Talkin Tek 20 questions. Bob, it's Friday. Eric, it's Friday. It's been a fucking week.
Dude, it has
Who
been.
needs it?
The dude that freaking turfed my lawn. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
Eric, you're the guest
You're
tomorrow.
No.
You're up.
Because there's some folks on here that probably haven't seen the show, so do the whole introduction of the fuck off thing.
Oh,
It's Friday and someone needs to go fuck themselves. By Monday, usually I got my guy. And by Tuesday, it's a hard decision to make, but there's always somebody that needs to get
All right,
told
so-
to fuck off by Friday.
all right. So I had a couple, but that changed when this show started. So guys, we use an app here that puts all of us together and lets us all network and see each other and bring this together. And we this week started a YouTube page for all the people who aren't on Facebook, and lots of people want to see us, but they're not on there. We started a YouTube page. I set everything up. So I need to say, YouTube, you need to go fuck yourself, because whoever it is at YouTube, I'm not sure if it's one person or I don't know what it is, but I set the whole fucking thing up. It's broadcasting live. It tells me I need approval to broadcast live. So during this show, I'm on my other screen here looking up what I have to do, and it tells me it's been enabled. It should broadcast. So fuck you, YouTube. You're not working. We're going to get this figured out for next week so the live can be viewed on YouTube as well as Facebook. And so, yeah, fuck you, YouTube. And then I'm also going to put this out there since I have a moment here with everybody. Listen, guys, we're trying to grow our show. We're trying to get more people to watch. We're trying to get more interest. A lot of people seem to like this show. We want you to tell your friends. We want you to help us grow this disaster that is our show. But we're getting a little more professional. We've upgraded audio systems. We've done all that.
Got a badass microphone over there.
Look at that.
Check 1 2 check.
Legit, man. Just like
Bender
Rush
even
Limbaugh
got the
stuff there.
microphone. So what I want you guys to do is I want everybody on here right now. It looks like we currently have 50 people watching. So I am expecting 50 people to click right now on our YouTube page, Talkin Tek. Not too hard to figure out the name. Go click on that. Like and subscribe our posts and all that shit, right? Whatever you're supposed to do. And it's going to help us generate some money to help pay for us to do this, because all this shit costs us money, right? We don't want to charge anybody money.
We're not trying to sell you.
We don't want to sell you anything. I don't want to sell anybody shit. But if you just click on this stuff, we can help generate money to pay for our subscriptions to this, to pay for our equipment, to keep bringing you more of these disasters. So I'm putting that out there. I want you guys to do that. And since it's Fuck Off Friday, if you don't go do that, you can go fuck yourself. There you go. Eric, who do you got for this Friday?
That's a lot of people you told to F off. So,
hold on. The last people that told a Google company to fuck off was like the whole state of Texas, and that shit ain't working out. So like the powers, like we're just waiting for the lights to just dim and talk at Bob's house.
I'm
getting more subscribers right now.
There you go. Perfect.
Go ahead, Eric.
Yep. So so anyway. Thanks again, guys. I sincerely appreciate it. This is probably the least viewed show out of all of ones that you've had, but I've had a blast. You know, the world's gone to shit, right? I mean, dude, everybody's just like everybody's so stressed out and everything's so formal and this and that. So that's why I like the show. Even if I'm not on it, I'm going to watch it every Friday because I just think it's cool and people need to relax a little bit, especially right now. Again, I grew up in Cleveland. Lived outside of Chicago, lived in Milwaukee. It's freaking cold, right? I come down to Southern Maryland. People are wusses down here. Okay. We literally have not seen snow in my city in 14 months except for the past week.
Especially that
Snowmageddon. Dude, Snowmageddon was hitting this week, right? I have a dusting. I can still see my grass. I can still see my driveway. The dude in my neighborhood who plows was like so stoked to plow. Sparks are flying everywhere. There's nothing to even plow, but he turfed my lawn. So that's who I need to say that to tonight. And then I'd also like to give a quick shout out to John Hawes. So thank you, boys. I sincerely appreciate it.
Cheers. All right, Bender. Cheers. I know you got somebody.
Dude, I had somebody by Saturday morning.
Is that a long list of people you want to tell?
It took me a long time in my professional career to realize that if you can't be part of the solution, you might as well be part of the problem. And I guess this sometimes you just have to resign yourself to realize that you're part of the problem. But if you manage or work for a poorly managed company that was poorly managed before all this shit, when something shitty and then COVID happens, it's just going to be shittier. If you were shitty before COVID, you don't have the right to use COVID as an excuse for being shitty. If you've used COVID as an excuse, but you were shitty before, you can fuck off. That's all I got.
There you go. Bender put that out there. So I got one more thing I want to go over. Since it is Fuck Off Friday. So we're wrapping up the end of the show here. We've passed about an hour-ish timeline that we try to shoot for every week. So, hey, El Jefe, who do you have that can fuck right off?
Who
I know I'm putting you on the spot. I like doing that to you.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I do. You don't have anybody. And guys, for everybody who watches, there is a small after party. And Hefe's usually the only guy invited. So fuck everybody else.
Well, I know it's kind of a cliche by this point, but it's a long list. But the people that prevent me from going to see my family and friends back in Canada, You know,
Fuck.
they tease me every week like, oh, we think next month we'll be able to open the borders and things will get back to normal. And then they pull out some horse shit at the end of the week and go, oh yeah, we'll kick that down the road for a bit longer. So to the people that make the decision to keep kicking that down the road and saying we'll keep those borders closed for all of the non-essential people that need to cross the border, like guys like me that like to go see his parents, yeah, those people can fuck right off.
You know what? I'm with you.
Hey, cheers, Jeff.
Microchip installed last week, so he should be allowed to come to Canada.
So wait, I got one more. Can I just add one more? It is Friday. I'm not really sure what this guy here is talking about. This Chris Bell guy, we'll just call him Spanky. He says, well, fuck you, Bob. You know what, Spank? You can go fuck yourself. There you go. Just putting that out there.
It's really not Friday until Spanky gets told to fuck off.
Spanky's he's just bitter because Sean Crowell dethroned, like this summer, Sean Crowell dethroned Spanky as the world's tallest midget. Guinness came out, certified it.
I mean, that's true because
Deals was just all over.
Spanky's got what, like a half an inch on Sean, right? I mean, it's that much on Sean, you know. But Spanky's bigger around, so he's got that going for him.
I got to answer one question real quick. I saw Michelle Morris, whoever the hell that is, asked what the worst dive trip I've ever had was.
Oh, I saw that one. I didn't share that. Yeah,
that was a side mount off of Bob's boat, wasn't it?
Pompano. I'll just say that. Pompano. If you're on it, you'll know.
There you go. Worst trip ever.
Yeah, Pompano.
Was it Pompano? I feel like there's a story there.
There's a major story that's either for another episode or for the after party.
I think it's going to be for the after party.
Dude, Elton John. I will tell you my Elton John story in the after party.
We're going to hear that. So just so
Pompano.
There we go. Elton John was diving in Pompano, guys, and we're going to find out the real story.
Shit got crazy. Benny and the Jets showed up, and there's margaritas and Jimmy Buffett. Like, shit got out of hand.
Fucking Tiny Dancer showed up.
Oh, it was Tony Danza.
Tony Danza, Tiny Dancer, whatever. Same fucking thing.
All right, everybody.
So, all right, guys. Everybody, great show. I better see more fucking likes and shit on that YouTube stuff because we're trying to make this pay for itself at least. So go do that and go fuck yourself if you don't. Or if you do, I don't care.
Thanks, everybody.
So
cheers.
See you guys later and fuck off.
Have a good evening.
And there